Red priestess. Okay. Hello everybody, hope you're having a great day. Here's Val with another video to keep your boredom at bay. Hey guys, so I'm back here with Chris doing our Season 6 character prediction series. And we're going to be talking about Tyrion today.
Let's talk about Tyrion, people. Let me tell you what, Tyrion's going to have a hell of a damn year. He's not going to kill nobody. Well, he may kill somebody. He's not going to kill nobody with a sword. He's not going to be the hero, but he will be the political hero because this motherfucker is good at politics. He's going back old school. He's going to find out who his enemies are. He's going to get Daenerys to trust him, and this motherfucker's going to make a difference. And he's going to let some dragons go, by the way, and they're going to go off and fuck shit up.
Yeah, I think Tyrion is going to be really smart about the next steps he takes, and it's going to be easy enough for him to gain Dany's trust. Or Missandei's and Grey Worm's trust, and then they can vouch for him to Dany. Looks like Tyrion is back to where he was in Season 2. The situation is really similar. He's finally back in a position of power, and that's where he feels the most comfortable, and just like he said in Season 2.
These bad people, what I'm good at, out-talking them, out-thinking them. It's what I am. And I like it. I like it more than anything I've ever done.
Oh yeah, he loves that shit. And the thing about this time, though, he doesn't have to worry about his sister or his father.
Yeah, exactly. This situation is a lot better for him. Although, he does need to worry about one person that we know is coming back from filming news. The slaver that owns him.
I didn't know that. I had no idea. Right, so with Dany gone, you got to imagine that the slavers are going to try to come back and get their property back. And, of course, Tyrion was a slave prior to being kind of rescued by Dany and becoming her counsel.
And he still owns Jorah, I think?
Technically.
So I think there will be some negotiation between Tyrion and the slavers, because they really want to try and stop all of the Harpies' attack. I'm pretty sure the Sons of the Harpy are still going around and trying to stir shit up.
Yeah, they'll definitely be moving in now that she's gone and everybody thinks she's dead. They think they saw her burning, etc. So it's going to get hard real quick for Tyrion and Varys while he's still there. I think he leaves later, but for a while they're dealing with all this shit. They're probably trying to figure out again who to trust and who not to trust as far as the Harpies or the Masters. They're going to use all their tricks that they know as far as Varys and his spies. Tyrion's going to use all his political maneuvering. And we know from casting news that him and Varys meet with Kinvara, I believe that's how you say her name, the new Red Priestess, kind of convinced the small folk to come back to Dany's side while she's gone because she kind of pissed them off and she cut Homeboy's head off.
Oh, Missandei.
Yeah, yes, there you go.
So yeah, I think there's definitely going to be a Red Priestess in Tyrion's storyline. That has been confirmed. But the question I have is, why would Tyrion go and look after this Red Priestess? This is actually one of my own predictions. I think this has to do with Sibelka Kili, you know, Shae. You guys know that she will be back, yeah? So I think that maybe the Red Priestess shows Tyrion a vision or some hallucination or something with Shae, and she uses Shae to bring Tyrion to her. Maybe Shae tells Tyrion something that gives him a clue of where to go, and that's how Tyrion goes and finds the priestess.
That's a good point. I was always wondering about Shae. I figured it was going to be some dream or hallucination. Obviously, she's dead, but that could be used as a tool to bring him to the Red Priestess and give him the idea to use her as a political tool to spread the word about Dany and gain the small folk support again.
Yeah, I think Shae will definitely have a purpose. I think it will be either that or she will push Tyrion to do something. Like, there will be something that Tyrion really is thinking about, and then Shae will be that thing that just pushes him to do it. So one thing that we do know from filming news as well is the fact that the slaves are against Dany now. We saw written on a wall, Misa is a master, and that tells us that she's not loved anymore. I believe Tyrion will be using this Red Priestess to preach about Dany again, or maybe she will be preaching on her own, but he will need her to gain people's love for Dany back.
And this will parallel, I think, Melisandre and Jon over in Westeros.
Everyone has to do something with a Red Priestess. Red Priestess. Okay. One thing that we did get from the behind the scenes video that HBO released recently is Dario and Jorah running around a city that looks exactly like Meereen. I don't think they will be going to any other city. I think it is Meereen.
Is that Meereen? Is that somewhere else? Is this after they left to go find her and they're kind of doing detective work on the way?
I actually just rewatched the clip and I saw Jorah and Dario leaving Meereen, so yes, it could definitely be another city.
They seem to remember the direction she flew off in, so they kind of at least have a lead, a place to start, at least which way to go when they get on their horses.
So let's just get right to the good stuff.
Finally!
The dragons will be released. We all think this, right? We all agree that the dragons will be released?
Yes, they are going to be released, and they have been in the books. They're already flying around Meereen, making their homes in the pyramids. And I actually said this in my prophecy video in relation to the prophecy that Meereen gave Dany back in season 1 about when would she see Khal Drogo again. And one of the parts of it was when mountains blow in the wind like leaves. And I believe that refers to the dragons flying around Meereen and tearing up the pyramids, which look kind of like mountains.
Okay, so I want to talk about the reasons why the dragons will be released or how they will be released. I have this feeling that Tyrion will think about it, but he will not like the idea initially. He will think that that's what he has to do, but he won't want to do it because that just sounds really dangerous. I mean, like, the dragons are not gonna know who's who. They might burn the good guys, they might burn the Unsullied. So I don't think that's the best strategy, and I think Tyrion will know that. But if it is Tyrion's idea to release the dragons, maybe it came from the Red Priestess. Maybe the Red Priestess is telling him things that she sees in the fire, and maybe that's what he has to do, and he believes her and does it. But still, like, releasing the dragons, if you're not Dany, like, you're clearly gonna die. So that's also what makes me think that maybe the dragons will be released in some other way, like some other conflict, something else going on. I came up with a really weird idea. I really don't think this is it, but I was thinking maybe they want to release the dragons because the dragons could go and find Daenerys and then they would know where she is just by following the dragons. But I mean, yeah, you can tell me that's a stupid idea, I know.
Yeah, no, that's actually a good point, though. If he does release them, he may think that the dragons will lead them to Dany. So that makes sense in itself, but yeah, you're right, it is a dangerous proposition, but he also could be trying to protect the dragons because he knows they're in one place, they're enclosed, and the Harpies and Masters want them dead. So he could say, okay, I'm going to prove to my queen here that I'm protecting her interest, which are obviously 3 damn dragons. And so I'm going to let them go and see what they do, and if they fuck shit up, they fuck shit up. But yeah, you're right. They don't know the good from the bad. They don't know who's who. But then again, in the show at least, Drogon did in the pit. He didn't burn anybody but the Harpies that were attacking the little crew there. He didn't burn Tyrion and Dario, and they were all standing there right beside Dany. So...
yeah, that's true. And I'm gonna bring back the behind the scenes video that HBO released. We also get a little clip that there will be fire in Meereen. So to me, that's another bit of proof that the dragons will be released and they will start burning stuff all over the place.
yeah, there will be fire and blood.
I have a prediction for a very specific scene that I want to see happen in season 6. And I think a lot of people have probably thought about this already, but it's when the dragons do get released, if they do get released, Viserion will be out, and I think that at one point, Viserion will meet Tyrion for the first time. And I think he will get really, really close to Tyrion, and then the directors will make it look like Viserion is gonna eat Tyrion, and all the viewers are gonna be freaking out about it. But I think that it's just gonna be a very tense scene where they look into each other's eyes and kind of make a connection. Because I do really believe that Tyrion and Viserion are a thing. Yeah.
Like face-to-face close where he singes his damn eyebrows.
Yeah. So I think he will just look into his eyes and then just fly away. And then we will know that Tyrion and Viserion are meant for each other.
Oh, dragon love. And Viserion's eyes were described as molten pools of gold, which we all know kind of points to Lannisters.
Yeah, a lot of people have made a connection between Viserion and Tyrion because of the gold. There was this other scene in season 5 where there's some foreshadowing there as well, where Dario is showing flowers to Dany, trying to explain to her that she needs to know the land, to know the people and the culture. So he's trying to teach her about some flowers, but these flowers are very particular, very suspicious, very foreshadowing. There's one blue rose. There's Lady's Lace, which is probably Dany, the blue rose probably Jon, and then there's Harpy's Gold. And Harpy's Gold is related to Tyrion. Harpy's Gold is actually red as well, so that could be red and gold, the colors of Lannister. Could mean Tyrion is meant for Viserion.
So it could have been right there in front of her face in season 5, and Daario essentially pointed out to all of us who the other 2 dragon riders were, or will be.
Yeah. The only other person I could think of is Sansa, because red goes with Sansa, and he described that flower as beautiful and poisonous at the same time. Although I don't know if Sansa would be described as poisonous, but...
Yeah, she's not riding no dragon.
She's too girly for a dragon, Chris.
Until she becomes Darth Sansa. Then I'll believe it.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I don't see Sansa riding a dragon. I really hope it's Tyrion, but, you know, it's just putting that out there.
And to add to Val's point about being a dragon rider potentially for Tyrion, that goes into the whole Targaryen theory. But just for you show-only watchers, in the books, Tyrion has dragon dreams and an affinity for dragons as a kid. He studied and read about them his entire life. He knows about dragon lore. So that's potentially another piece of evidence that he could be a dragon rider.
Oh, and that could also mean that he will be a bit more comfortable releasing the dragons because he knows so much about dragons. Maybe he will know what to do to not get killed by them.
Yeah, like open the damn lock and run like hell.
Oh, yes. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is this one scene at the end of last season where Tyrion and Varys are talking to each other. I'm going to show you part of the clip, and you will know why I'm showing you only part of the clip. Here.
Who could possibly have any experience managing such a massive, ungainly beast?
So don't tell me you didn't think that Varys was talking about a dragon. Yeah? So if you watch the whole clip, Varys was actually talking about Meereen and not the dragons. But if you start watching the clip right at that point, it has a whole other meaning. I strongly believe that the scriptwriters sometimes do put some thought into what they're writing and what words they're using. And I think that they use the word beast for a reason here. It kind of sounds like foreshadowing that Tyrion will have to control an ungainly beast.
So apparently there was a released picture by either a tourist or a sniper or somebody. It got released either way, and it's led to speculation that Tyrion may actually meet Dany outside of Meereen. It could be Meereen still, but the picture didn't look like the normal set they used for Meereen. So the question that brings up is, will Tyrion meet Dany outside of Meereen, and if so, why did he leave Meereen in the first place?
One of the reasons why I think Tyrion would be outside of Meereen is because they just gave up on Meereen. Maybe everything just went to shit, everything was a complete mess, and they decided, okay, it's not worth it anymore, let's just get Dany and tell her to go back to Westeros, and he meets her outside before she comes back. It's like, it's not worth going back, let's just get out of here.
So yeah, it doesn't matter how smart Tyrion is or how much political maneuvering he does. In the end, there's a lot of shit going on. Shit's going to go to hell in a handbasket real quick, and he's probably going to get the hell out of there, at least to warn her what's going on in the city before she decides to come back. Maybe that's the point where they say, you know what? Fuck this place. Let's go to Westeros. Let's go home.
And in the pictures you can see that there's Unsullied with him too, so I don't know if he brought the entire army of Unsullied. Maybe a bunch of Unsullied died because you couldn't see a huge amount of Unsullied. It was only a few guys, but maybe they will add the rest with, like, in post-production. CGI Unsullied. Or maybe he just took an escort with him. I don't know, it's really hard to guess. There was one idea that came to mind though. What if the dragons haven't been released at that point? What if Tyrion goes and meets Dany and tells her, let's not go back to Meereen, and Dany is like, yo, my dragons are still in Meereen, I have to go back for my dragons.
Or maybe that's the reason he does leave, because he releases the dragons, or somehow they get out, however that happens, and they're blowing shit up in the city.
I mean, yeah, it's anybody's guess right now. Or maybe Tyrion, with all of his wits and smart moves, actually figured out who the Harpy is, and...
Oh, and maybe Daario's the Harpy, and Tyrion leaves Meereen to go warn Dany before they get back to Meereen, because if he is the Harpy, he's not going to want her to reach Meereen again alive.
Yeah, he has to go and warn her.
So that's why he leaves the damn city. It makes sense now. Ding!
That could definitely be it. I don't know. I think we figured it out, man.
We've solved the riddle. That's it.
Well, let us know what you guys think in the comments.
So I'm guessing before this happens, where he goes and meets Daenerys for whatever reason, that Varys has already taken off to go back to King's Landing to, let's just say, take care of some business and prepare for her arrival in Westeros. So ultimately, fan favorite Tyrion is probably the hardest to guess, based off the fact that we have no more books to read at this point, because it's going to be a lot of political maneuvering and stuff like that in Meereen, as opposed to big fireworks and wars and stuff like that that's going to happen over in Westeros in Season 6. So it's kind of hard to predict every little thing that Tyrion's going to be doing, even with the released footage and released pictures and stuff like that. He'll kind of halfway save Meereen for a while, but ultimately it's going to go to hell in a handbasket. Everything goes to shit. Dany shows up in the nick of time with the Khalasar at her back, and then they decide from there, do they stay in Meereen, leave some Unsullied perhaps behind, and head over to Westeros. I think near the end of the season, we see Dany and Tyrion actually head home, at least boarding the ships.
I'm just going to be putting all the prediction videos on the screen right now. These are all the ones we have. This is a collaboration series that Chris and I are doing together. We're going to be doing sets of characters. So every time I upload a video, there will also be a video on Chris's channel. Make sure to leave a like in this video, and I will see you guys in the next one!
It's going to be very similar to King's Landing. He's going to try to find out who Dany's enemies are as far.
I think one reason is that maybe they just gave up on Meereen. Like, one of the reasons why I think Tyrion would be outside of Meereen is because they just gave up on Meereen.